Welcome everyone who is joining right now. We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, for those of you who are coming in right now, as you know, you have your mic and your camera disabled, so please keep them like that. During the session, like I was saying, we will be starting very shortly. Also, we will have a Q&A at the very end of the session where we will be able to address all of your questions, etc. And you can submit them either through the Q&A feature or through the chat box. We will be looking at both sections just to make sure that we go over all of your questions. We are going to give just maybe half a minute more for people to keep coming in, and we'll get started. Let's see. Okay. We have more people coming in. Welcome, everyone. Like I was saying, please keep your mic and your camera off during the session, and then you can submit all of your questions through the Q&A feature and the chat box. We will go over all of them at the end of the session when we have our Q&A. And I think I'm going to get started since we have a very busy agenda for today. So just before we delve into our topic for today, that, as you know, is graduate school applications, many of you already know about us. So just to remind you that Education USA is here as a resource for you. We are a network of advising centers all over the world. Here in Spain, we are in Madrid and in Barcelona, and our work focuses on giving you information that is accurate, comprehensive, and current about higher education and in the US and US study opportunities. We do academic advising, individual sessions, information sessions like this one, and of course, all of our services are free. So always remember that we are here as a resource for you as you enter the world of US higher education. We basically conceive the process of studying in the US in these 5 different steps: researching your options, financing your studies, completing your application, that is the step we will be focusing on today, and of course, once that you have received your admissions, applying for your student visa and preparing for your departure. So as I was saying, the topic for today is that middle one, that key one, that is completing the applications for grad school. We advise you on all of the 5 steps, so feel free to come to us. You have the website in the lower area of the screen. Feel free to come to us with any questions that you may have. But for today, the topic is graduate school application essays. We are joined by Amir Sadafi, International Graduate Recruiter at University of Colorado Boulder, and Mary Parsons, Associate Director at International Student Affairs in University of Missouri, Kansas City. And they are going to be talking to us about the graduate application process, but more specifically about 2 essays that can be, as we will see, interchangeable sometimes, that are necessary for that process. And those are the personal statement and the statement of purpose. So we will start with Amir and the personal statement, and then we will move to Mary and the statement of purpose. I think we have everyone here. So Amir, if it's okay with you.
Yes.
We'll start.
Yes, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sandra, and Education USA Spain for hosting us in this event. Once again, my name is Amir Sadafi, and I am currently the Senior Assistant Director of International Graduate Outreach at the University of Colorado Boulder. We can go ahead to the next slide, Sandra. And so today I want to, in addition to talking to the statement of purpose and personal statements, really just broadly address the graduate application process, in particular as it relates to preparing and writing a very successful and effective statement of purpose or personal statement, depending on the program to which you are applying. And first and foremost is really establishing clearly your academic and career goals. Really, before going into the venture of looking into graduate school, hopefully you have some idea, some passion, some desire that is propelling you to want to study at an advanced level. And you are able to articulate what those are. And that can help you identify the right program. And that's going to be really, really important for success. Because in the United States, we have, in general, about 4,000 institutions of higher education, 2,000 of which or so give graduate degrees at the master's or PhD level and above. And so we have a vast array of options and a vast kind of a range of different types of programs. And so finding the right fit is really going to be essential to your success in your application process. And part of finding the right fit is going to be really preparing you for writing that strong essay. And part of that is identifying what are the requirements for the specific program that you're looking at applying for, including deadlines, which are very important, especially if you are looking for funding. At the graduate level, many of our programs are able to provide funding to students, especially, you know, like at our institution, any of our research-based master's or PhD programs are able to provide full funding for students. And so applying before the deadline is essential to ensuring that you are eligible for being considered for that funding. You want to be able to connect with potential research matches if you're doing a research-based program. Even if you're not doing a research-based program, just connecting with faculty and staff and getting your name in front of them is very important, I think, and can be a useful tool in kind of making your application and yourself as a candidate stand out among the crowd. And then preparing for any exams that might be required, being aware that, you know, that this year, because of the COVID pandemic, many institutions, including our institution, is going test optional for the vast majority of our programs for the GRE, and is giving a lot of flexibility for demonstrating English proficiency, including allowing students to take the Duolingo exam at home instead of having to take an IELTS or TOEFL at a test center, for example, and then preparing any additional materials. So if you're applying to, for example, an MFA program, a Master's of Fine Arts, they're going to want to look at a portfolio of some of your artistic work that you've done. If you're applying to a creative writing program, they're going to want a writing sample. If you're applying to a business program, they're going to want a really strong CV of kind of your research or your past career experience. And so those are the documents that you want to prepare alongside your application. Sandra, you can go ahead to the next slide. And then the application process for most institutions are generally going to be the same. Where, you know, everything is now digital. You apply online to most programs. Almost all documents are going to be accepted on a kind of electronically. We, at the application stage at the University of Colorado Boulder, accept unofficial documents. Once we accept you, or hopefully when we accept you, is only when you would need to provide like the official sealed version of transcripts, but just scanned copies work at the application stage for our institution, and then paying any application fees and making sure that you're just staying on top of your application, that we've received all the documents, and checking just regularly on the status of the progress of the application. You can go ahead to the next slide. And so, you know, as I mentioned, we have over 2,000 institutions that grant master's or PhD degrees in the US. And what's really kind of in the US education system unique about graduate education is that in almost all universities, it's a very decentralized process. So each individual program and department is setting their own requirements, their own checklist of what are the materials and documents that are required, what are the minimum GPAs, do you need a statement of purpose or personal statement? And so that checklist is going to be very specific to each individual program, but here you can see kind of a generic checklist of generally most programs are going to require some combination of what you see here. And you're going to see there that it says personal statement. And what they mean there by personal statement can really vary from institution to institution. And they can often, like as you're seeing here on our checklist, and this is taken from our website, here when we're saying personal statement, in most cases, we're actually referring to what is a statement of purpose. And that is essentially what we're really going to delve into in this session. So Sandra, you could go ahead and go on to the next slide. We can skip this slide. I think we talked about test scores and deadlines as well are very important, just to know that they vary as well. So again, keep in mind what your specific program is looking for.